Feels like summer. Where are you? There you go. Pause. Wait. Let's hit the pause.
Murder. He presented the love letters, text messages, and the forensic evidence linking Tyler to the crime. The prosecution's case was solid, painting a clear picture of Tyler's motive and actions. The defense was handled by public defender Sarah Jane Lennon, a compassionate and determined attorney who had been practicing law for over 20 years. She was 42 years old and known for her dedication to her clients. Lennon argued that Tyler was a troubled teenager who had been deeply affected by his mother's death and was struggling with mental health issues. She claimed that Tyler's actions were not premeditated, but a result of emotional turmoil and confusion. Throughout the trial, the emotional toll on Maria's family was evident. Her husband, David Sullivan, sat in the front row, his face etched with grief and disbelief. Friends and family members wept quietly as they listened to the details of Maria's tragic death. After several weeks of testimony and evidence, the jury deliberated for 2 days. On December 3, 2012, they returned with a verdict. Tyler Sullivan was found guilty of second-degree murder. The courtroom was silent as the judge read the verdict. Tyler showed little emotion, his face blank as he listened to his fate. The sentencing took place on December 10, 2012. Tyler was sentenced to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge stated that while Tyler's actions were driven by emotional distress, the brutality of the crime warranted a severe punishment. The sentence aimed to provide justice for Maria and her family while acknowledging Tyler's troubled background. Maria's family had mixed reactions to the sentence. Some felt it was too lenient, given the nature of the crime, while others believed it was a fair balance between justice and compassion for Tyler's mental state. The community of Somerville was left to grapple with the aftermath of the tragedy, hoping to find some sense of closure. The trial and sentencing of Tyler Sullivan were widely covered by local media, including WCID and the Post and Courier. The case served as a somber reminder of the impact of emotional and mental health issues and the devastating consequences they can have. After Tyler Sullivan was sentenced to 25 years in prison, life in Somerville, South Carolina, began to slowly move forward. The trial had been a traumatic experience for everyone involved, leaving lasting impacts on the community. David Sullivan, Maria's husband, struggled to cope with the loss of his wife and the imprisonment of his son. He took a leave of absence from his job and sought counseling to deal with his grief and the overwhelming sense of betrayal. Friends and neighbors provided support, but David often felt isolated. He decided to move to Charleston to start fresh, away from the painful memories in Somerville. Tyler's incarceration was a difficult adjustment for him as well. He was sent to a state correctional facility where he began receiving psychological counseling. The prison system offered educational programs, and Tyler enrolled in classes to complete his high school education and began studying music theory, still clinging to his dream of becoming a musician someday. Lilibeth Carter, the neighbor and true crime enthusiast, was deeply affected by the entire ordeal. She continued to write her novel, now incorporating the harrowing experience she had lived through. The local media, including WCID and the Post and Courier, featured interviews with Lilibeth, discussing her perspective on the case. Despite the unwanted attention, Lilibeth remained focused on her writing, finding solace in her creative work. Detective Martin Poco and Officer Julia Montes, the lead investigators, received commendations for their diligent work in solving the case. The success of their investigation reinforced their commitment to justice and the importance of thorough police work. The case also highlighted the need for increased support for mental health issues, both within families and the broader community. Life in Somerville gradually returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the memory of Maria Rodarty Sullivan and the tragic events that unfolded remained etched in the hearts of those who knew her. The town's resolve to support mental health initiatives and honor Maria's legacy became a lasting tribute to her life. Thank you for listening to this episode of True Crime Case Files. The tragic story of Maria Rodarty Sullivan reminds us of the complexities of human relationships and the dark paths obsession can lead us down. Join us next time as we explore another case in our pursuit of truth and justice. Stay safe.
What made you sleep with your stepson? That's the question.
Amid several ongoing sexual misconduct lawsuits and a reported federal investigation, and royal music hitmaker Sean Diddy Combs seemingly has no care in the world. But his recent summer activities have piqued his accusers, as their lawyers are slamming Combs as they send an ominous message: more could lie ahead for the rapper and producer.
It feels to me like he's trying to portray this feeling of nonchalance because he doesn't want people to think that he's nervous. Perhaps he thinks it's going to make him look
That
better.
nigga's out of here.
That he doesn't appear to be concerned, but to those people who don't believe him anyway, that just comes across as uncaring and arrogant.
Since swimming in the ongoing lawsuits and with his public reputation taking a huge blow since, recent photos of the mogul show him white water rafting in Wyoming, showing off his private jet, as well as biking around South Beach, Florida. And the moves haven't been sitting well with his alleged victims. Combs faces a mountain of sexual misconduct lawsuits, 10 that have been filed since last November. Most recently, he's been sued by an adult film star who was employed to work at his famous Labor Day white parties. Adria English, who filed her suit on July 3rd of this year, claimed she was first employed by Combs in 2004 and was groomed into sex trafficking over time. In her suit, she claims her first year of working at Combs' now infamous party in Miami, there was no sinister intent or requirements for physical sexual contact, and seemed like a legitimate employment opportunity. So she came back the following year and the year after. But it would be that third party she worked at that Diddy allegedly demanded she engaged in sexual intercourse with party guests after they learned about her adult entertainment past and forced her into sex work. English claims her memories of some people are hazy due to her consuming lots of alcohol and drugs, but added in her complaint, the encounter she was forced to endure were so excruciating she remembers them because they still haunt her to this day. In May of this year, April Lampros filed her lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of battery and sexual assault. She said she met Combs in '94 when she was a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Lampros claims Combs promised to mentor her and showered her with gifts. She said she endured 4 terrifying sexual encounters with the producer/rapper up until the 2000s. The first incident allegedly occurred in '95 when Combs took her to a hotel and raped her. Lampros claims months later Combs sent her gifts and flowers, so she decided to give him a second chance. She says the second incident allegedly occurred in a parking lot where Combs forced and demanded her to perform oral sex on him. Then in '96, Lampros claims Combs forced her and his former girlfriend, who happens to be the mother of 4 of his children, to take ecstasy and have sex with each other, where Combs allegedly pleasured himself and then raped Lampros. Lampros says the fourth incident occurred at the end of 2000 when Combs was dating Jennifer Lopez. Years later, at an event in 2023, Lampros claims a man informed the person she was with at the event that he had seen a tape of Lampros having sex with Combs that was filmed without her consent. 2 days prior to Lampros' suit being filed, Crystal McKinney also filed a suit against Diddy. She claims she met Diddy at a New York Fashion Week event when she was a 22-year-old model. In the suit, McKinney says Combs told her he would help advance her career. And later that same night, she alleges she met Combs at a studio where he gave her a laced joint, alcohol, then followed her into a bathroom and forced her to perform oral sex on him. After the alleged assault,
This
Combs
nigga's
blackballed her in
stupid.
the modeling industry. She says she's since suffered depression and even attempted suicide. Then there's the Rodney Jones Jr. suit filed in federal court in February of this year that accuses Combs and the people who work with him of being part of an illegal racketeering enterprise. Jones alleges in his complaint Combs reached out to him in 2022 to help him produce songs for his latest album. But Jones claims that the work went far beyond him producing. He claims he was tasked with getting drugs and soliciting sex workers. Jones alleges Combs would often threaten to inflict bodily harm on him if he didn't comply with his demands, and accuses him of sexual harassment and assault for allegedly grabbing him without his consent and forcing him to work while Combs paraded around naked. Then there's a suit filed by a woman under the moniker Jane Doe, which was filed in December of 2023. Doe alleges she was gang raped and sex trafficked by Combs' former Bad Boy Records president, Mark Pierre, and she was just 17 years old and in the 11th grade. She claims she met Pierre in a Detroit lounge and he told her he was best friends with Combs. Doe said Combs then convinced her to fly on a private jet with Pierre and a third assailant to New York City. She alleges when she was taken to Combs' studio, she was given drugs and alcohol and subsequently gang raped at the studio at Combs, Pierre, and a third assailant. Combs and Pierre have denied the allegations against them. Liza Gardner filed her lawsuit against Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall in November of 2023, alleging the two forced her to have sex with them against her will when she was 16 years old. She claims she met Combs and Hall at a Jersey album release event in New York City. Combs allegedly invited Gardner and her friend Hall's apartment for an after party, and it was there that Combs coerced her into having sex with him. In the suit, Gardner claims she was getting dressed after. Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and allegedly forced her to have sex with him. The day after the assault, Gardner alleges that Combs came to her home and began assaulting and choking her to the point she passed out. On the same day Gardner's suit was filed, another suit was filed. This one by Joy Dickerson-Neal. In her suit, Dickerson-Neal says that she met Combs after she appeared in a music video with him while she was a student at Syracuse University. She claims she agreed to go out to dinner with the rapper and producer in January of '91. During their date, Dickerson-Neal alleges that Combs intentionally drugged her and sexually assaulted her and recorded the assault. She alleges days later a male friend revealed to her that he and other men had viewed the sex tape, which she says from that point her life went into a tailspin. And after returning to college, she had to be admitted to the hospital for severe depression and suicidal ideation. With a slew of ongoing lawsuits, criminal defense attorney Serena Townsend explains it's a long way from looking up for the rapper/producer.
I think he's facing a world of trouble, honestly. That's a lot of women who are coming forward, and every time another woman comes forward and is believed, you have that settlement which kind of gives credence to the complaint, there could be more that come out. People feel very uncomfortable and nervous to come out against their abuser, particularly when their abuser is world famous. And so this mountain of complaints that are coming out against him, I wouldn't be surprised if more come through, and I think that he should be quite concerned, both civilly and criminally.
And then there's the only lawsuit that's been settled a mere day after it was filed in federal court that seemingly opened the floodgates, and that's the federal lawsuit filed by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, singer and actress.
Alright, I thought they were gonna tell us some new shit.
If you sit more than 6 hours a day, or your primary form of working is at a desk, and stretching isn't getting the results you're quite looking for, this video is exactly for you. The biggest issue I've seen people try to address these issues is that they just try to stretch their way out of it. And that can be helpful in the short term, but if you want longer term results actually last longer throughout the day, then I'm going to show you a couple strategies that could be more effective. And depending on the person, they could be in a slouch position with the pelvis rolled back, they could be too arched in their low back with the pelvis forward, but generally it honestly doesn't matter that much because the best posture is the one that you can shift in and out of constantly. There is no one best posture, there is no one best sitting posture. However, if you're constantly in one position for hours at a time, if you're constantly in one joint position for an extended period of time, like 90 degrees of hip flexion, then your body's probably going to adapt to that over time. So honestly, the single best recommendation I can make to you is getting different postures throughout the day as you sit. So a standing desk, sit in different positions on the floor, in your chair, lay down, whatever works for you. That's the single best thing that you can do. But let's say you're working a cubicle and that's not feasible for you, or you want some other tools that can help you. Well,
let's talk about some common issues that will happen if you're stuck sitting for a very long time. The biggest thing that's going to happen is that the pelvis is going to adapt to that position of hip flexion. So if you stand up, you're passively in some hip flexion because muscles on the front side of the pelvis can start to get a little bit tight. And that's going to put you in a position of anterior or forward pelvic tilt. And people can do things like hip flexion stretches that open up that front side of the hip, but what they're missing in that is they're not actually educating the muscles that create hip extension to move us into that position. So no wonder the results don't stick that long. What we want to do for better results is to get the glutes and upper hamstrings to work as hip extensors and educate them to slowly move us into a fully hip extended position. And that can not only lengthen your hip flexors, but it can give you results that when you walk around, your hip actually has room to extend into because the muscles know how to do their jobs more effectively. Here's one way that you can do this. I would do this on both sides for about 2 sets each. Now for this one, we're going to need a wall. So get your butt close enough to the wall so that you have just a little bit more than a 90-degree bend at your knees. So for me, that's probably right about there. And you want your shins parallel with the floor. So you're not up here and you're not down here. You're right about here and you're about hip width apart there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to gently take one foot off the wall and pull it back as far as you can without feeling any pinch whatsoever in the front of your hip on that side. You're going to hug that knee to your chest. So if I can get back here and not feel any jump in my hip, that's good. But if I can only get to here without feeling any jump, that's fine. Just make sure you're nice and relaxed. Now what you're going to do is feel the inner arch of your foot, of the foot that's on the wall, and your first metatarsal head, which is right here and right here. So the actual big toe up here is right where the ball of your foot is on the inside right here. It doesn't mean you're going to lose the outside of your foot. It's just going to be right there. And then this is going to be back here. And now what you're going to do as you exhale is you're going to put pressure into the wall. And you're going to gently and slowly tuck your hips and lift your back one vertebrae at a time off the ground with each exhale. So it's going to look like this. Inhale, exhale, push to the wall, come up one vertebrae. I should immediately feel some glute activate and maybe a little bit hamstring. And then inhale through your nose, maintain that position. Exhale, go even more, just one vertebrae higher. Maintain that, inhale, exhale, go up a little bit higher. And just progressively get through that until you're at your max end range hip extended position. And the only possible way you can go up any higher is if you arch your back or if you literally just push yourself off of the wall. So once you get to that point, you know you've gone too far. Go back down and then switch legs. And you'll probably notice some asymmetry from side to side and a harder ability to get your glute on one side relative to the other. It's normal and okay. What I recommend that you do is if you're struggling to find your glute, you do 2 things. First is push the wall before you lift off a little bit with that foot arch and see if you can get some mind muscle connection between your glute and the arch of your foot. This is teaching you that when you're walking through the gait cycle, you can get your foot arch to cue your glute to push you forward. Now, if that didn't work, what you can do is just a little bit further away from the wall like this. And sometimes this can be enough for people to start feeling a little bit better. And how many times have you seen that common image of people that sit all day in a slouch posture like this in a forward head? And what you're seeing here is a ribcage that is oriented forward and down. And usually what that means is that it's very stiff and unable to move very well. So what that means is that we have to find a way to pull in air. So the neck is going to be pushed forward so that way you can use the front neck muscles, generally secondary muscles of inhalation, as primary muscles of inhalation because your diaphragm can do its job very well. So not only are you going to have a ribcage that's very rigid and you can't hold it properly, also going to have a neck that's tight and trying to act as your primary muscle of inhalation. So what we generally want to do is learn how to expand the ribcage in the back and the front and stack the head over the ribs more effectively. I'm going to show you 2 exercises that are very helpful for that. If you like this approach that's addressing more the root cause of these issues associated with sitting, then check out how to get a body restoration program. It has a lot more exercises like this that can give you a lot better results than just stretching. For this one, you can literally be at your desk as you do it. And what you want to feel is first, your sit bones are in contact with that chair. And you're going to get your whole foot flat on the ground too. Place your elbows on that desk so that way you have less than about a 60-degree angle in terms of the angle of your torso relative to your humerus right here. So you don't want to be too high like this. Right out here is where you want to be. And you want to have your elbows about a little bit apart, but some people can go a little bit wider if it's more comfortable for you. Just make sure that your palms are facing. This is putting you in a position that will help you open up your back and front ribcage at the same time. What you want to do first is get tall, maintain contact with those sit bones. And then watch what I do. I'm going to very gently reach my ribcage back. And
Oh gosh, I just cracked my rib.
I'm going to push my ribs back in space and give me a tiny bit of rounding or flexion in my upper back, but that's not coming at the cost whatsoever of my sternum depressing. So 2 I like for this is imagine someone has your hand on your back and you're keeping your elbows in the same place as you push your ribcage back. So it looks like you're literally protracting your shoulders, pushing your ribs back. Do that. So get tall, push your ribs back a little bit, and now breathe out from your mouth nice and soft for about 5 to 10 seconds. At the end of that exhale, you're going to feel your side abs engage a little bit. That's good. Hold that about 2 out of 10 as you close your mouth and softly, silently inhale through the nose. Your ribs in the back and front expand, but primarily in the back. So it's going to look like this. Notice how I didn't lose any height in my skeleton as I exhaled. I was maintaining this the whole time, and when I inhaled, I didn't shrug my shoulders up. Keep everything relaxed and just keep those ribs back a little bit. Stay tall, don't let your head really move all that much. I had a nice silent inhale and a full exhale. Softer and easier is always better than harder and more forceful. For this one, the goal is to open up the front side of the ribcage and do that in a position where we can shut off the neck. So it's of the utmost importance we can stay nice and relaxed, and we can not engage our neck whatsoever in this activity. So we're going to use a pillow for this. Something about this thick, but you can also roll up a towel and use that vertically aligned. It just needs to go on your spine like this. So we're going to lay down on it. And our head's going to be off of that object, so that way it can be in a position where our chin is directly facing the ceiling. We're not like this, and we're not like this. It's nice and aligned, just like that. And then what we're going to do is keeping our feet flat. We're going to take our elbows, put them out directly parallel from our shoulders. We're just going to let them come back like this and hang naturally on the ground. If you can't get them all the way back, that's okay. Just let them rest right here, or you can support the underside of your arms, so that way they're not just hanging out here. You can maybe stack a couple of pillows, so that way they're just passively chilling right here. So what we're going to do to start is just a little posterior pelvic tilt. We're going to get our pelvis in a position where we can rotate it back. Our tailbone's going to slightly lift off of the ground, but our low back is going to remain 100% flat. So we can do that by trying to drag our heels towards our butt and actually engage the back of our thighs a little bit, our hamstrings. Now, as you maintain that throughout this entire set, get in this position right here, and now just gently exhale through your mouth for about 5 to 10 seconds. You can open your mouth. Like that. And what you're going to feel at the end of that 5 to 10 second exhale is a little bit of side abs. You're going to exhale and you're going to feel these low ribs come down a little bit, which is natural. And hold on to that very, very subtly as you inhale through your nose. As you inhale through your nose, you're going to feel your ribcage here really open up nicely. And it's okay if your ribs come up a little bit, that's natural, but try to just keep 2 out of 10 engagement of those side abs the whole time. So a whole breath cycle is going to look like this. Little tuck, drag the heels. was silent, and you could hear my exhale nice and soft. My neck didn't get on whatsoever. You will feel your neck inhale really aggressively, or you will feel your neck inhale really aggressively, or you feel it come down as you inhale. Keep that chin towards the ceiling. This video is going to be a little bit more personal because I myself was born with pectus excavated and I did not get surgery to fix it. Instead, I used the principles I'm going to talk about in this video to get pretty significant results, improving what my ribcage looked like and getting rid of some of this sunken chest. When I was younger, I was extremely self-conscious. I was so unwilling to take my shirt off around people. Not only was I this young kid with a lot of acne, but I also had this depressed chest that was really just so different than everyone else. And I never wanted to take my shirt off in locker rooms, never wanted to go to the beach or a public pool. And really, to be honest with you, this is what got me into doing what I'm doing today. My insecurity of wanting to improve my chest and try to build some muscle to cover it up is pretty much the foundation of everything that you see in terms of content I put out. Now, with pectus, what you have is a depressed and collapsed sternum. Now, this can have varying degrees of severity.
Sorry, bro, I don't have that.
I think about the topic. Well, according to some of the most popular biohackers on the planet, drinking hydrogen gas-infused water may have profound antioxidant-like effects, improving digestion, performance, mood, clarity, all these crazy benefits people are thinking. But looking into this, I'm still wondering, is it really all bad, or is this some kind of a gimmick? Well, I want to know. That's why I will be putting these to the test. Seriously though, I will run these through different tests, including the heavy metal test. Why do I ask? Well, I'll explain that in this video. And will I experience any of the claimed benefits for myself? That's what we're gonna find out in this video. We're diving down the medical hydrogen gas-infused water. Is it all the rage, or is it just a joke? Let's find out. So it seems like this idea of hydrogen-infused drinking water surfaced in popularity some years ago. Then it went kind of dormant. That is until just recently on a popular podcast, human biologist and biohacker Gary Brenna gave his reasons for drinking hydrogen-infused water daily.
It's fascinating. I'm so convinced that hydrogen water is the best way to get something about.
And well, ever since then, it seems like this topic has exploded. But aside from this being just word of mouth, it turns out there are actually studies on this hydrogen-rich water concept. In a recent systematic review, researchers compiled various studies looking at the potential effects of consuming hydrogen-rich water. And right here you can see a summary of the potential benefits taken from these studies. Now this is pretty expansive, but the ones that are catching my eye are the aging, the mental, but most importantly, the potential benefits it may have on physical performance. Research has shown that drinking hydrogen-rich water before exercising can mitigate the effects of fatigue and build endurance. However, they go on to state that all studies have demonstrated encouraging results. One study showed unclear effects of fatigue and unclear or inconclusive differences. This one study showed that subjects who drank hydrogen-rich water before weeks had improved mood, anxiety, and overall mood. It's redundant. But then there's also the counter results that show no significant difference between control and treatment. So it seems like the researchers are thinking maybe, but there needs to be more studies done, which is why I need to step away from these studies and actually try this out myself to see if I experience any of these supposed benefits. Okay, well, first of all, how was I even going to make hydrogen-rich water? Well, according to Gary Brenna on the podcast, he gets his hydrogen-rich water by drinking it out of a special water bottle that produces it. So I did the most logical thing here, and that is searching Amazon for one of these special hydrogen-producing water bottles. Anyways, after a deep dive, my first purchase, that's right, I'm making more purchases of more water bottles in the future, but my first purchase was of two. One that was very hydrated, and another one that was the cheapest one that I could find. Anyways, after receiving, unboxing, and examining both of these products, I was quick to realize that they looked pretty similar on the insides. In fact, after looking through most of these hydrogen-producing water bottles on Amazon, I realized a lot of them were kind of just copies of each other with a small change made here or there. So how do these hydrogen-producing water bottles even work? Well, based on what I found out, it appears that most of these water bottles use some form of electrolysis, that is using electricity to split H2O into hydrogen and oxygen gases. Now, also most of these water bottles claim to use PEM technology. This stands for a polymer electrolyte membrane. And the idea here, to my knowledge, is that this membrane helps separate the hydrogen out from the oxygen gases into a specific channel, so that in the water bottle's instance, you can have that hydrogen gas coming out into the water while the oxygen must be going out somewhere else. But that is it, it's actually doing what they say it's doing. What the heck is it, the blue light? Like, why? Why is we like it?
So you see bubbles better.
Oh yeah, so yeah, all you do, and all I did was fill these up with filtered water, and then it takes that water and it separates it using electrolysis, like I just mentioned, into the hydrogen and oxygen gases. And then hopefully we're just getting that hydrogen gas up into the water, and hopefully it will be infused with the water. Will it actually make a difference? That's what we're gonna try to find out.
Oh gosh.
But how would you know? Oh.
It smells like glue. Yeah, that's right. After running one cycle, they both smelled like glue. But I figured it was probably just a new product manufacturing thing, so I rinsed it out, ran another cycle, and it was time to initiate the first test. And for my first test, we'll call it the antioxidant effect on the apple test. And before you think I just came up with this, no. In fact, I came across so many different iterations of this picture used within an advertisement of so many different hydrogen water bottle products. Essentially, it shows some kind of apple or pear slice sitting on the air, then a slice in regular water, and then a slice in this hydrogen-rich water. And then, well, according to this picture, after 6 hours have passed, the slice left in the hydrogen-rich water is the least oxidized. And this is trying to portray the beneficial antioxidant properties of this hydrogen water. But would this actually be the case in real life? That's what I was going to test. So to start, I cut up an apple, I left one slice out. I put one slice in regular tap water, then one slice in filtered water, then one slice in the water from the more popular hydrogen water bottle, then one slice in the water from the cheapest hydrogen water bottle. It's been 3 hours. So far. So let's run a little bit. Let's see. I can't say that any of these have changed significantly. Alright, so it's been well after 6 hours now. I don't know, I don't know if there's any difference, but I'm gonna place it on this little rag right here, and we can take a closer look. Starting with the air, alright, now the tap water apple, okay, now the filtered water apple, alright, now the hydrogen and the hydrogen knockoff one. They look exactly the freaking same. So yeah, for 6 hours, all of the slices left in any of the water looked the same. So I decided to put them back in the respective containers and leave them for 24 hours to see if there would be any difference. And well, 24 hours later, you can see for yourself. Tap water, filtered water, hydrogen bottle, more premium, and then the cheapest one I found. These are the worst, to be honest with you. Yeah. Oh, like they literally smell like rubber cement on the inside. One thing I can think of is when I did produce the hydrogen in the bottles the first time, I had the caps loose. What if I tighten it and let it pressurize? Would that perhaps infuse that hydrogen into the water? And then when I do this experiment then, would that actually make a difference? Maybe I'm gonna try that and see how that goes before I move on. So that's exactly what I did. I tightened the caps, then I ran the cycle, then I put them into new testing cups, and I sliced up a pear this time because I figured maybe it would get more brown faster. That way we didn't have to wait that long. And I put the pear into the various water bottles, and 6 hours later, I didn't notice any difference. And then 24 hours later, based on visual observation, I didn't notice any significant differences between any of the water submerged pear slices. I don't know what you think. I don't know. So maybe the fact that I left these cups out for 24 hours caused the hydrogen to escape into the air away from the water, therefore it's just regular water again, and maybe that's why they all look the same. But then again, after 6 hours, they all look the same too. How long does the hydrogen stay infused in the water? In fact, does it even stay infused in the water, or does it just immediately escape into gas into the air? That's what I want to find out next. So I ordered in the mail right now some hydrogen testing equipment and some hydrogen testing chemicals that should hopefully tell us the parts per million of hydrogen ions that are or are not in this water. But before we get into more testing, I can't believe I did it. I purchased the EcoCo Plus. I had to do it. So the EcoCo Plus is a hydrogen water bottle that Gary Recca apparently uses on a daily basis. The only issue is it's $250. But I figured because I'm really diving into this hydrogen water rabbit hole, it would be rude not to include it. So I purchased it. It should be coming in the mail as well, along with the testing equipment, and we're gonna throw it in the mix and put it up against everything else. And eventually I'm gonna be hopefully drinking from one of these and hopefully experiencing the benefits. So in order to be thorough and do this right, I ordered a plethora of testing equipment as well as some more hydrogen producing water bottles. Over the next several days as these things arrived in the mail, I was getting more and more excited to test out all the different hydrogen water bottles as well as eventually try the hydrogen water for myself. However, when observing some of these products, I ran into some issues. There's hairs in this. Can you see that hair? Yeah, I don't think I'm about to stick that in my drinking water. So I don't think this problem was a direct fault of the company. I think it was like a shipping thing or a return item perhaps. So I decided to reorder this tester. And in the meantime, I came across this potentially sinister scenario that may be one of the contributing reasons hydrogen water fell off the map a couple years ago.
Consumers hoping to improve their health say they were tricked into buying a hydrogen water machine for thousands of dollars this morning. Governor Hydrogen powered.
So as I'm waiting for all my testing equipment and other hydrogen water bottles to get here, I just went down the rabbit hole on scams in this whole industry. No, I'm not talking about whether or not this electrolysis process actually makes legitimate hydrogen-enriched water. And no, I'm not talking about influencers taking a cheap product and then selling it to their followers for 10 times the price. In fact, what makes this one special is this alleged scam handed to the influencers. Hey, this is just kind of bugging me, and I'm just calling regarding the program with the hydrogen water system. You guys reached out to me, you know?
Oh, yeah, Kevin, good stuff.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you got a lot of followers.
Well, I only have 3.
3?
Oh, yeah, 3 followers.
3 followers, yeah, you know, that's a lot of people, you know, it's more people than, well, anyways, you calling about the program?
So, yeah, I was just trying to learn, like, what exactly what I have to do on my end.
Great question. So, it's pretty simple, actually. You go to our website, which I'm sure you already know how to do. You go to my influencer program page, and well, you purchase the product, and then we send you the product, and then you make posts to your social media promoting the product according to the guidelines. If you adhere to those guidelines, we'll send you installments every week until your product is paid back.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow,
Pretty cool, huh?
that's crazy how that works.
Any questions?
Oh, and when should I get the product by?
Yeah, well, as soon as you get ordered, as soon as you get the product, basically. That's what I always say.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
Sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be a part of the program.
MLM.
If you want to see the full skit, it's out now on my skit channel, link in the description. Let me just tell you, it doesn't end like you're going to expect. Anyways, how it relates to this alleged scam. So the way I'm interpreting this is allegedly there was this hydrogen water company, and what they did was they looked for influencers, reviewers, blog posters, etc. And well, they made an agreement with these influencers that if these influencers purchased the hydrogen water system, which was pretty expensive by the way, and then the influencers made consistent reviews and posted good things about the product, and there was like a schedule and they had to hit a certain, I guess, quota or whatever. Well, if they did everything on a checklist, the hydrogen water systems company would pay installments back to these influencers, basically paying them back for the system they had purchased from the company. Anyways, what apparently happened to some of these influencers, reviewers, etc. is they stopped getting payments. And it just got really messy. Anyways, the final remainder of my testing equipment and hydrogen water bottles should be here by today. We're gonna have a crazy lineup of stuff, so I'm excited to get testing and try to figure out which ones I'm actually gonna use for myself. Maybe I'll use them all just in the loop. Alright, finally, we're ready to test. Finally, all of my new testing equipment was here, as well as some of the new hydrogen water bottles I wanted to test as well, including the $250 EcoGo Plus. So I gotta give it to the EcoGo Plus, but out of all these so far, it's the only one that had this cap on where the electrolyzer, or whatever the heck you want to call it is, that has a little bit of water in it. I think that's supposed to like preserve the platinum or whatever that is. So yeah, like, I think it's still now off, and there's like a little bit of water in it. Let's see, there's some water in there, you can see. So as I slowly get this thing together, the reason there was a cap with water in it over the electrolysis plate is because apparently according to these companies, the water's supposed to keep the electrolysis membrane hydrated as they ship. So I'm just wondering by not having that water in there, did it affect the other one somehow? I don't know. Anyways, we'll get to the test where I do test them for hydrogen, and you will see there are some differences. Oh, look at all those lights. And you can see when I have these all on, even though they all say they're using basically the same technology, it appears that the bubbles get scientific for the way that they're producing them, but they all look like they're coming out differently. If I'm taking a closer look when I take the water bottle portion off and just look at the electrolysis plates, they all actually kind of look a little bit different. Also, something to note is the EcoGo Plus ran for 5 minutes when I hit the cycle button, while all the other bottles ran for 3 minutes. Oh, and I also purchased hydrogen water tabs or tablets you add to regular water that are supposed to infuse it with hydrogen. Yeah. So I will be testing this one as well to see how it stacks up versus the hydrogen producing water bottles. So after all the cycles were done, I poured the water in a separate cups and then quickly tested them with this hydrogen water tester I purchased off of Amazon. Alright, so this is just regular tap water right here, and as you can see, the meter actually isn't picking up
any part per million of hydrogen. Over here now, so one of these will just make the elite. Boom, 1.143 parts per million hydrogen, apparently. Okay, so those bubbles might actually be hydrogen if this thing is actually measuring hydrogen. It's measuring something parts per million. So what I'm getting at is whether or not this meter is actually accurate. It was at least speaking of the difference between filtered water and hydrogen water, showing that filtered water had 0 parts per million according to the meter, and then the hydrogen infused water actually had some difference. So there actually might be something different with this water after it was infused by these bottles. Anyways, I took multiple tests and I took the average of each, laying the initial data out. To my surprise, the EcoGo Plus actually produced the highest part per million readings according to my meter. I then ran the H2 blue test, which consists of using these blue drops that react to the dissolved hydrogen gas in the water. And when it reacts to that gas, it turns clear. According to these drops, every drop that drops into the water and then turns clear indicates 100 parts per billion. So you keep dripping this into the water until it doesn't turn clear anymore, and that's approximately how many parts per billion hydrogen gas is dissolved in the water. See, that's about that's right. I can't believe it, man. I cannot believe it. What can I not believe? Well, according to the H2 blue test, the EcoGo Plus was once again leading the pack. According to this test, producing more than double of all the other water bottles. The only other thing that tested the same as the EcoGo Plus using the H2 blue test were the tablets. Now, there has been some concern, echoing unintended, around the internet regarding how these things are produced and whether or not they contain any contaminants. I wanted to do my best to test for these, so I bought these heavy metal test strips, as well as these heavy metal plus chlorine plus other contaminant test strips. And to my observation, I did not get any concerning readings with any of the products, including the tablets, using these test strips. Now, the tablets did leave behind this mysterious gray film for the glass. Look at that. That's like residue left over in the tablets. So all your ingredients in these tablets, magnesium, 80 milligrams, and then dextrose-malic acid, L-tartic acid, and uric acid. So maybe it's one of those other ingredients. So maybe it's magnesium or something. So after running all these tests, checking for impurities, and rinsing these all out over several times, I think I finally concluded. I can't believe it, but this is the one I'm going to be drinking from.
Hello guys, my name's Lucas.
That's helium. Okay, anyways, I think I will be drinking from this one for the next several days, and I will look to you guys here in the differences. So even though all the other hydrogen water bottles I had a glass cylinder, and this was the only one that was made from plastic, I still chose the EcoGo Plus as my hydrogen water bottle that I would drink from for the next several days. For 2 reasons. First of all, I detected the most hydrogen in it as compared to the others, and also maybe I'm being too sensitive, but even after washing out all the other glass ones several times, I could still smell a faint rubber cement smell. Anyways, over the next several days, I tried to drink the majority of my water from the EcoGo Plus, which because of the size of this thing and the capacity of the amount of water this thing holds, was actually kind of annoying. I was constantly filling this thing up and then charging the water up. And then out of nowhere, in the middle of consuming this water all the time, I was hit with a concern that was presented in the comment sections of forums and various hydrogen water videos. Some people were suspecting that by this hydrogen water bottle producing process, some of the water would turn from H2O to H3O, which apparently is very acidic. And the first problem that came to my mind would be drinking this all the time could cause erosion of the teeth. Not wanting to have another tooth issue from an experiment, I got myself a pH tester, tested my filtered water, and then tested the EcoGo Plus. And with my surprise, at least according to this pH meter, the EcoGo Plus seemed to be a higher pH when compared to my filtered water. I decided to test all the other hydrogen producing water bottles I had as well, and well, they also produced a higher pH than my filtered water. Now, when I tested the water from the hydrogen producing tablet, I got a more acidic pH. But remember one of those ingredients? Well, those ingredients included some acids, so maybe it was just those diffusing into the water. So I don't know, a lot of scientists maybe just jumped to conclusions out there without really thinking about this, or maybe my pH meter's wrong, or something else. Because I was under the impression that it never became H3O, but rather H2O with H2 gas infused in the water. I don't know, let me know your thoughts. Now you guys gotta check out how great this is. So when the EcoGo runs out of batteries, all you gotta do is plug it into this USB-C power charger, which goes to a USB-B here, I think, and then, well, my laptop actually doesn't have a USB. Alright, it is an adapter right here that has a 2 to a C. No, wrong one. This one right here basically goes from C in the laptop to these old USB 2s. One doesn't go that way, doesn't go that way, but it has to go that way. Quantum mechanics. The next time you charge it, or you can just buy one of these adapters on the side here. Boom, and plug it into the wall. So yeah, I don't know why like every company everywhere is doing this now, like they don't include this. But that just like so annoys me. All of these did not come with this, but how much money are they saving by not sending this? Probably a ton. Anyways, after finishing the whole thing for over a week now, did I experience any profound benefits? Turns out I might have. And if you guys use my link in the description right now, you can say I'm still there. So in conclusion, I can't say one way or the other if I actually noticed any benefits in performance, mood, cognition, etc. However, I am kind of curious to try this on and then off over the next couple of months to see if I can find any correlation when I am drinking it and when I'm not drinking it. But even though I tested everything, even though I went down the rabbit hole on so many different things regarding this silly water experiment, I want to ask you guys, do you guys have any concerns with this whole operating system? What other things should I know about this? Because I just want to be certain that I'm not drinking something that's like causing me damage. You know what I'm saying? I tried my best to dive down the rabbit hole and figure out everything to see if it was safe, and then I assumed the risk after all my tests turned out okay. And well, I can't say I experienced anything definitively, but maybe. I'm so curious. And that's what I'm asking you guys. What do you guys think? And if it turns out I do decide to keep drinking this in the more long term, well, maybe I'll make a follow-up video on that a couple months from now. Who knows? And I would say drinking from this, it goes quick. Like, let me show you for instance. Like if I take a full EcoGo Plus and it works into one of these other ones, like barely.
That's crazy.
And then the water is the reason that I detected less hydrogen in these water bottles because they actually had more water in them. And on top of that, remember they also ran for only 3 minutes. Well, this runs for 5 minutes. Sorry to be inconclusive, but I just want to stay honest with you guys about how I feel about this. So if you guys all enjoyed this video, I hope you guys all stay tuned. I have more videos coming out. If you want to check out the full skit, link will be in the description. Hope you guys all have a great day. Peace. I'll see you all in the next video. What if this business today can make it an extra decade and seems to become no disease in those 50 years? What if the secret that allows people across Norway and Japan to regularly live to over 100 years old was being read out? Was now available to people all around the world, including you. This is real. And coming up is an interview also with John Gillen, who first brought this stuff to Europe and has vastly more experience using it to revive people of rock bottom health than even well-known longevity scientist David Sinclair. This is, of course, NAT+. I know there's supplements for it, but I don't use them anymore. I know there's also IV drips for it, but I would never have those on myself because it can actually be very dangerous. And if anyone's an expert on that, trust me, it's John Gillen because he was the first in Europe
to understand how this works, how it can be dangerous, what benefits you can get from it, and even how to use it on yourself safely, stay tuned. What's NAD? Well, every cell in our body is doing a certain number of functions simultaneously all the time. The fuel for this is like electricity in a battery fueling a circuit. If that battery then has low energy, then the bulb it's powering is going to be very dim, and we have a poorly performing bulb. Now, think of, say, cell function as a bulb and being powered by mitochondria, which is the battery packs of our cells. Inside this battery, the charge is known as ATP instead of electricity, and it's what's made in mitochondria. Now, imagine our cells have a suboptimal amount of ATP or energy available. Imagine the reduction this is going to show in the cell function and how dim our bulbs is work. Place this analogy in the skin, it translates to, say, wrinkles and sagging instead of smooth, tight skin. In the pancreas, it might translate to a reduced ability to utilize insulin in the body. In the liver, it can translate to a poor detox ability for us, etc., etc. You see, I know you might think aging is about wrinkles and diabetes, but honestly, these can be for other symptoms. If we think of aging as losing cell function, then we can see how wrinkles and diabetes are more symptoms of this reduced cell function rather than aging in and of themselves. But how do we lose cell function? Well, if you understand that, you understand why NAD is so powerful. We have less and less energy available to us over time, and this translates to changes of aging, like I said, disease and wrinkles. There are things that I'm sure you know of already, which are seen as very anti-aging, like exercise, saunas, cryotherapy, intermittent fasting, and much more. These do work because they have a final effect on the quality of DNA and the ability to repair DNA damage using things like substituting enzymes. And if the cell's instruction manual for its jobs, i.e. the DNA, is perfect, then it can do the jobs perfectly. But here's the thing, even these enzymes can actually be dependent on NAD+. So now, you're starting to understand how a tiny molecule is seemingly crucial to slow down the aging process from the inside out. If you make each cell's energy production process optimal, then each cell function is done optimally, and cells make up tissues, which make up organs, which make up an organism, like a human being. What can deplete the body's level of NAD and rapidly ages? Amongst other things, alcohol is very good at this. John Gill was among the first in the world to use NAD+, and it was specifically for alcohol detox programs of patients whose livers were severely malfunctioning. Here's what he saw when he did this, and remember, normally, these liver issues, when treated the traditional way, could take several months at least in some cases.
I came back to the UK very quickly. Went back to San Diego to meet Dr. Cass, and she took me across the border to this clinic in Tijuana. At that time, it was a well-known, renowned clinic called the William Hampton Clinic. And I had the opportunity to experience 5 alcoholic people receive this IV protocol. To my eyes, it was just like, totally remarkable to anything.
Why does it hurt so bad?
These people,
It feels like
3 to 5
fire. Like my Achilles is on fire. But I feel it loosening up.
And even the physical appearance. And
It feels like burning
all terms of
fucking
alcohol, it was just remarkable.
fire. A brick that's on fire.
Complete mental clarity. So that struck me. And that moment, I decided that this is something I must do, not pursue, but do. So very quickly on return to London, I reorganised myself, and I opened up Europe's first NED IV clinic called Bangor in Marylebone in London.
Literally in a handful of days, liver toxicity was being reversed. Think about how long a rehab can take, or even alcoholic
Damn, it really did stick her.
to get people perfectly physically in good condition and mentally clear as well. In fact, even the guy that started Alcoholics Anonymous decided that vitamin B3 therapy was the way forward to treat alcoholism rather than meeting sat around in a circle in a room. What you'll be thinking now, when you have just seen that though, and listen very carefully, is that to slow down the aging process, you need to go get a drip of NAD, an IV drip of NAD. I guarantee you that isn't the case, and it can actually be very dangerous. Here's why.
Yeah, well, if you're using NAD, interested in NAD, I mean, dose actually matters. Dose matters, just the same other medications, I would say. In that alcoholic patient group,
At least it's loosening up.
to the point of
It's been working.
absolutely can be fatal deficiency in NAD.
It's been
like
working.
Some clinical pellagra condition. So these people needed more enforced methods of raising NAD. And that's why we use the IV protocol then. Now, through these years, many years, many people I have, through my own clinical observations, noticed
Given global.
no,
Let me turn this down. I love the oldies. The oldies be fire. This is 88. Look at ugly ass cars.
It's kind of important that you get this street sign over here. Lennox
Linux.
Boulevard. Here we are.
Here we have local residents out walking the children.
Oh yeah, just to the right there. Local resident, they're waving. want to get a better picture of Diddy driving. If I can, I got my seatbelt on. It's kind of hard to turn around with mine on. Naturally, well, you can see.
Yep.
You know he outside.
Who? Oh shit. I totally forgot. I was watching this podcast. Alright, I'll be out right there. I'm already high still. I forgot he was about to be outside. Was a hot boy and everybody going to sleep. I totally forgot he was coming. He was on the way. Damn. Totally forgot. Good looking out. Fuck.
I just happened to be clean, was crying out the door. Right?
Yo, I totally forgot, Ryan.
It's only been like 5 minutes.
I know, I was watching a podcast. I know, but still. Alright, I gotta go.